You guys remember June? This will be in her case study. About 3 months since her first ride, and she's probably around ride 8 now. Today is going to be June's first ride in the Hackamore. And today we are going to put her into the Hackamore. So you guys are going to get to see the very first ride. I'm going to keep this filly in a Hackamore for a while. Do I know how long? Nope, because she's going to tell me when she's ready to go to the snaffle. The difference between that halter and this Hackamore is this has flex to it, right? This has give, but it's also a little more stiff. It's a little more firm. The way it's built, it will have leverage if I use my reins in a particular way. But I can also still use it just like that halter to get lateral. But the bars of this Hackamore will also be able to take a bit more of a firm contact on the outside of her face, which is going to improve my communication and clarity with her. But what I like about going to the Hackamore is it's an easy transition from this soft halter to this Hackamore. And this is more firm, but it's not abrasive. It still has some softness to it. So she's going to get to grow up and be a big kid today. So what I like to do is I'll slide this rein up her neck. That way, if she were to walk off, I could just reach over and grab this. When we taught her to lead with a neck rope. So I will take this halter and just slide this down over her nose. Bring her head back, because that's what I got my hand on. I could also do that with that lead rope like I just showed you, but I could also do it here with the halter. When I go to put this Hackamore on, make sure your reins are organized. They're not crisscrossed. These aren't. And keep your reins in your Hackamore in your same hand. I'm gonna rub her here. I'm gonna rub her eye. This is where the little bit of a difference comes in, because this is gonna come up towards her eye. And so I'm taking this up over her eye so it's not gonna bang her there. Make sure those reins are squared away. And then, just like very similar to a halter, I'm gonna slide this on. Now she's like, this is different. What are you doing to me? And then from here, bring your head back. Put that little ear through. Put that little ear through. And do it as smoothly as possible. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. But perfection is the weakest excuse for not doing anything. And so these are the types of things with my horses that will get better with time and practice. And this is why also I get on to people that handle these horses at our place with putting their halters on properly, so that they learn to keep their heads down and to stay relaxed, and they learn to bring their heads over. Because I want her to get to feel what this feels like against her face. And I get to see how this Hackamore is going to adjust to her face. It might have to choke it up because it's just dropped down a little bit. But here I'm taking a hold of this right rein so I can get in touch with this hind right foot there, and she finds softness in it. Sometimes your horses will feel that firmness and they'll go, oh, I don't like that. And so you want to make sure that you deliberately get your horses prepared for that physical sensation. So I'm going to go ahead and ask her to walk on. And as she walks off, I'm going to think about going to the left. So I'm going to pick up this left rein, think about the lateral flexion at the same time, to say go forward and think to the left. And that was a lot more than what we were going for. So I'm looking at getting this rein connected to the inside front foot, just like I was on my groundwork. Keep my hands really wide in this because I'm trying to take a contact on the outside of her face there. The softness in her body will come as her mind understands how she needs to respond to the requests that I'm making. Right? When a horse doesn't really understand what's being asked of them, there's going to be some added stiffness and resistance because they just don't quite know what to do. And so all I'm thinking about is keeping this very, very simple. The simple part of this is like, hey, will you go forward? And then I'm gonna pick up on this rein and try to get in time with the inside front foot. And usually a lot of times you'll see that her mind goes to the left. So I play the game of opposites. Go forward. And she thinks to the left, and I say, how about we think about going to the right? It's not because she was wrong. It's just because that we were already headed to the right, and all I'm thinking about is like, in my round pin work, we was talking about established direction, right? Just go that direction. We want to make sure that we have a good understanding, a good foundation on some of these basic pieces by the time we get to that trot, that I can be able to coach her. Because I'd like to, we're really trying to work on her steering at this point. So we're putting miles in, but we're also trying to work on some quality. Here she gets a little hung up. She kind of picks her head up, which causes her hindquarters not to be able to get underneath her as much. So here I'm going to change things up. I'm going to take a little bit more towards my hip with this rein, and I'm going to ask for the lateral to come through and her to relax into that rein. There she runs into that, and then she gives. There she has a little bit of tension because she's thinking back towards you guys. Those horses whinny over there, and her mind kind of goes over there, and then she puts tension in that lead. So I'm just waiting for some added softness and making it her responsibility to put that in there. So I'm going to go ahead and ask her to trot on. You guys see she's still pretty green. Riding those circles. Good. I'm just using that inside rein and inside leg to really get everything together. I'm not trying to disengage the hindquarters. She's going to have to get used to this Hackamore and the way it feels, so she might pick her head up a little bit. And that causes, when her head comes like that, she has a really hard time engaging from behind. And so I'm just taking that inside rein, because see how the shoulders are drifting out. I need her to follow this rein. If her nose and her inside front foot get on the same track, right there, she starts thinking that other end of that arena. And I'm just asking her to stay right here. And so she can get a little tight when I go to bump on her just a little bit. There she feels like this side she's a little bit better. On this left side, I might take a little bit more of a holdover and bump her off my leg, but go forward. See, she'll disengage those hindquarters, but I want her to track her hindquarters while she's moving forward. Not so much that she's disengaging, but more that she's engaging from behind. This left side, she's just a little more mentally kind of thinking to the outside of that circle. That was a little better. So I say, hey, I can work on this until you start to get things together. And I'm just guiding, setting things up, go forward. Just notice it's a loose rein, just guiding things around, wait on that left rein. There's tension. When I take the slack out of those reins and she kind of runs into it with her face, it's because there's tension in the rest of her body. And the way that she's going to get that tension out is to kind of work and move and build the softness into her body from behind and all the way through. There, that was better. There, it's not. And when I say it's better, it's because she's actually softening in those first two vertebrae in her neck. And she's actually engaging through her whole. OCC1 is where she's softening. And then that translates back to this shoulder a bit more. That's better, because she's thinking where she's going a little bit more. The mind's coming through and the body's able to find that softness. But this is something, right, you can't force this. People might be able to make it look better by putting a damn martingale on them or something stupid, right, to be honest. And you might be able to get it to look that way, but if the horse is just forced in that position, then the mind's not there. Versus my horse might look a little more green, but this is like ride like 8, 9, or 10, probably 8 or 9 at this point, and it's not ride 10 yet, but I'm working on this quality there. See, it was there, but then she's like, oh, I'm gonna stop. So there was a moment where it was good, and I say, but we can do that while going forward. So I'm just letting her work on it. I'm not really concerned. See, I'm not concerned there about where the head is at there. And if you're somebody that wants to develop your horsemanship skills, your horse's skills, and your partnership together, I want to invite you to check out our private community group down below. You'll see more of the sheep too, because down there in the private community, guys, our focus is on developing working partnerships with our horses, which means that we focus on what we do with our horses develops the skills, and how we work with our horses develops the partnership, because I'm a firm believer that the strongest relationships and the strongest partnerships are built not just by singing Kumbaya, sitting in a circle together, but actually putting the work in together and going through the good times, going through the tough times, doing life together and having real experiences with your horse. Because when you have real experiences with your horse and you get into a sticky situation at some point, then you can bank on the fact that your horse is going to stick with you through that. So if that sounds like it's something for you, click the link down in the description and let's get back to the video. This way you guys notice that I'm actually kind of able to really sit the trot or sit the jog. Whereas the other direction she was a little more quick because she had more tension, right? That tension caused her to be a little faster and a little more bumpy. This way she's a little more comfortable, a little relaxed, a little more confident. And so it shows in the tempo and the cadence in her body. All right. Okay, you're gonna be like you were yesterday. Little outside leg. I asked her to lope off right where we rested yesterday. Hands wide, and forward. I'm riding like a triangle, keeping her right between, keeping her nose and her body right between my hands. Letting her find that see how she kind of gets outside that right rein, then forward. I want to make sure that my aids are what are communicating for her to turn, not that she's kind of mentally ricocheting off this wall. There she gets a little hung up. So we'll just go kind of make a smaller circle here. We're gonna have to circle cows in the middle of the arena later in our lives, so we get to practice there. We're just practicing. But I have that visualization. World's greatest horseman, 20 whenever we get there. Reining cow horse competition. So now we're practicing our circles. I would not call these large fasts, but for right now, go kind of, I want her to find a better cadence. She's in and out of this cadence right now with, I just want her to kind of settle onto this circle a little bit, because her cadence tends to get, there's times where she gets straight, there's times when she gets a little too bent, like on this side. Just wait and hold. Try not to bump on her too much, because then that can cause more braciness in that moment. Forward, both legs forward. There, that was so nice. Right through that turn where we tend to get a little sticky. So you gotta be careful you don't get them too tired, where all they think about is like, gosh, I can't breathe. But at the same time, let them go until they start to find some confidence and go, hey, I think I'm onto this thing. I think I understand what we're after. So I'm just here to guide her. I'm like, hey, I'm your partner, I'm your friend. Sometimes that means I have to really show you what we're up to. But we're having a constant conversation right here, and we're trying to get on the same page. You know, I spent a lot of time just going with her initially, and now I'm trying to get her to go with me, just like Ray Hunt would say, and then you go together. That going together piece. Whoa. Think she'll stop, guys? Think she'll stop? So, pretty cool. That last little part of that circle felt really, really nice, and that's why I'm like, all right, go ahead and stop, because I don't want to stop over there, right? I'm very diligent. I've stopped on that side, I've stopped on this side. I've added the go on this side. We're not stopping over there. I've even loped her off in that particular spot, because it's a mental concept of finding that neutral feeling. Everything's balanced. pH is balanced in this arena. And I'm also trying to stay on this side of the arena so that you guys can see a little bit better. Because I'm not trying to make a big deal out of nothing. So as we're next to this wall, I'm just going to ask her to go on. Now we're on the right lead, correct lead. On the left lead, not the right lead, the correct one. So I'm thinking about suppleness through the pole and the loin, her following her nose. This is really nice right here, comparatively. There she drops that shoulder in a little bit because the mind goes that way. A little inside leg there. Keep the hips engaged. Keep the mind engaged. Whoa. Oh. Good. So, you know, step off of her here. It's a pretty good, real good ride for her. This is probably a little bit longer than I would normally go because I've been talking my way through this. And so that's okay. You know, time is one of the best things you can give these young horses. Follow the process that we go through. Follow the groundwork exercises. Follow the basic ridden exercises. Follow the process, right? If you're interested in riding a horse in a Hackamore, go watch the Hackamore horse series. If you want to ride a horse in the snaffle bit, go watch the foundation ridden work where I ride in a snaffle bit. Go watch that stuff. Follow those steps. Get your horses operating on those exercises. They're in an order for a reason to make you and your horse's life a lot easier. And then ultimately you can start to see some of the results that you're seeing here, where ride 8, pretty damn good for this little filly. You can keep developing your horse mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually at a pace that is conducive to your horse and to your own schedule by following this process. It's really, really simple. It's practical horse training and horsemanship and understanding how these principles apply the rest of our lives. So June's going to be one of the poster child examples of our program and what we can teach our horses and how you can do the same thing for your horses. Have a blessed day. Go out and ride your horses. Have a blessed one. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.